The film opens with a boy named Nino, who lives with his father and two brothers, Antonio and Ennio. They have just lost their beloved mother, and since her passing, the house feels empty. Each of them tries to be strong, but the sadness never seems to completely disappear. The day of the funeral arrives. Everyone is grieving, including Nino, who is still young but already seems mature in his demeanor. During the ceremony, Nino's gaze falls on his mother's younger sister. For some reason, he seems drawn to and curious about her. On the way home, Nino sits next to his aunt in the car. Accidentally, his hand touches her leg, but she remains silent. This reaction makes Nino feel relieved and happy. Upon arriving home, sadness returns to the family. However, a strange woman named Angela appears. She arrives through a maid agency at the final request of their late mother. Before her death, her mother had apparently arranged for someone to care for and look after her children after her death. Angela's presence brings a new warmth to the house. She was gentle, diligent, and deft in taking care of everything. Slowly, Angela seemed to replace her deceased mother. Nino's father felt comfortable with her and even considered marrying her. However, he held back out of respect for his late wife's memory. Meanwhile, Nino began to feel something different about Angela. He wasn't just impressed, but also attracted to her. Nino often told his best friend, Porcelo, about Angela. But who knew that this actually made Porcelo jealous? He even said, "If I were you, I'd take Angela out every day." But Nino just smiled. He enjoyed Angela's presence in his house too much. One day, Nino was injured by broken glass while playing soccer. Angela immediately helped and treated him. She was so caring that Nino felt comfortable around her. From then on, their closeness grew. Angela became more than just a caregiver, but also someone who brought the house back to life. Everyone was drawn to Angela, often peeking at her while she worked. However, behind this, Nino began to become protective. He hated anyone approaching Angela, even his own father and brother. Meanwhile, his father became increasingly determined to marry Angela. He felt she could replace his wife and bring peace back to the family. But Nino wouldn't stay silent. He tried to thwart his father's plans in various ways. One way was by breaking a shop window to thwart his father's plans. The next morning, the police arrived. His father thought his house was being burglarized, but it was actually Nino's own doing. Time passed, and Angela grew closer to the family. Until one day, their father invited them all to visit their grandmother's house. However, their grandmother disliked Angela. She considered her just an ordinary woman from the lower classes and unworthy of marriage. Nino's father, however, continued to try to convince her. He explained that Angela was a kind woman who made his children feel comfortable. But his grandmother still refused, especially after learning that his son truly wanted to marry Angela. That night, Nino spoke with Enzio and deliberately caused a small disturbance to make Angela look wrong. The plan worked, although Angela seemed to realize that it was all Nino's doing. He even considered leaving the house, but Nino forbade him. From then on, Nino's attitude began to change. He became bolder around Angela, while his father continued to prepare for the wedding. He even invited a priest to dinner to get his children's blessing. But Nino didn't care. He was busy with Angela, even playing with Angela's donuts, and Angela remained silent. The next day, Nino went to Porcelo's house. There, he met Porcelo's beautiful sister and asked her to teach him how to ride a bike. That afternoon, he invited Porcelo to his house to show him something, his plan to spy on Angela. Angela noticed Nino and his friend's behavior, but she just smiled. She knew they were just curious. A few days later, Nino's father went to his grandmother's house to ask for his blessing to marry Angela. However, that night, heavy rain fell, forcing him to stay overnight. Angela stayed home with the children. The night felt long. The power went out, and Nino tried to scare Angela with a flashlight. Angela begged him to stop. But Nino instead made a strange condition: she had to be naked in front of him. Angela complied, and the night turned into a small chase that ended with their first kiss. For Nino, that night was unforgettable. He felt happy, but also sad. Because the next day, Angela would marry his father. Despite his grandmother's objections, Angela and Nino's father went ahead with the wedding. And in that moment, Nino learned to accept the reality that the woman he loved was now part of his family. At least he knew one thing. Angela wasn't leaving. She would remain in that house, and the kissing would probably continue. And finally, the film ended.